Cavalier head volleyball coach Alyssa Hanley. Coach, huge 3-0 win for you last night. You had two players, Connor and Farley, in double-digit kills last night. I know we talked about it last night pretty extensively, but talk about your team last night and that pretty historic performance.
Yeah, I think last night is just I think we just saw everything come together finally. It's been a challenging season. We're a very young team, only one upperclassman and obviously two new coaches, and so just a lot of change. And we've faced some adversity through the season, but I think we finally just saw it all come together last night. This team has so much potential and so much talent. It was just more about learning how to work through our mistakes and not kind of dwell on them and realize it's just part of the game. And so that's something we've talked about a lot recently. And I think that they're just finally starting to get it, and it really showed last night. And I think we came away with the sweep. Looking at the stats, because we had people chipping in from all angles. Defensively, we looked solid. Offensively, we were spread out across the board. So it was a really good team win.
I think something that was pretty phenomenal last night, at least from watching it, was Cameron Livingston. I feel like she was all over the court. Talk about her a little bit, kind of jumping into that libero position, especially only being a freshman.
Yeah, so she's been kind of in and out of the jersey throughout the season. Been sharing it with one or two other DSs on our team. I think we've struggled a little bit in that position to be consistent, which is why we've had so many changes. But with Cameron, obviously I recruited her and I knew what kind of potential she had. For her, it was more just really about being a freshman and getting the nerves out of the way, and just kind of getting up to par with the pace of college volleyball. And we knew that was going to take a little bit of time and experience. And I think that's just exactly what it took for her. And last night, she was very confident and she was reading well and she's fast and she played phenomenally. Super proud of her. And I think she kind of got a glimpse of what, her career is going to look like.
So you guys are going to end the regular season off against Carson Newman on Friday, a team that's ranked super high in the conference, 15-2 overall, 10-1 in the Mountain Division. So how are you feeling about that matchup? I know we've already played them once before in this season. They were a very tough competitor, so talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, they're, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the conference. They're very solid. They're very deep on their roster. They're big. As far as size wise, they definitely are bigger than us. And I think the first time we played them, a month or so ago, we were a little taken aback. We weren't ready for that yet, and so we were slow to start. But I think we know now what to expect. And like I said, I think we are a different team now than when we played them in the first round of conference play. So I'm expecting it to be a really tough match, but I think I feel a little bit more comfortable that we know what to expect, and kind of where we can chip away at them. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So obviously, as the regular season comes to a close, as an overarching comment, how do you see your players improve over the season? What were some things that you noticed, especially, I mean, as you talked about a little bit before, just a second ago, I mean, you played Carson Newman, I feel like ages ago, and now you're playing him again. And I feel like it's going to be a completely different matchup. So talk about kind of the differences in what you saw in your team then versus now.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like I said, I think half of our team basically being freshmen. We spent the majority of the first half of the season just getting them to kind of get out of that shock phase and getting out of their nerves, and just kind of realizing what conference play looks like each day, and understanding that no matter what SAC team we're playing, it's going to be a battle, that anybody can take a game any day. So you got to come in to play your best game. And so, I think now as a team, we understand that better. And so it's kind of helped our mental game, which is, I feel like, been our biggest struggle through the season. We have the talent. It's more just about being mentally prepared. And so I think that that's something that it's not easy to do. And we work on it daily, but I think that they're doing a good job of paying attention to that every day, making sure that they're prepared for each game. And so, I think we are definitely a different team now today than we were back then. Even some of our lineup changes are different. So it's going to be a completely different match. And especially being, at home now, that obviously helps. And it being our last match, it's kind of like just go all out, leave nothing on the court. So I think it'll be good.
So last question to piggyback off that. From my records, you guys are the youngest team in the SAC by far. Only one upperclassman, a lot of sophomores, a lot of freshmen. So kind of talk about how you've been able to approach that with your team, that, you guys are the youngest. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to be playing against, teams that have grad students, teams that have 6-year players on these teams due to COVID. So talk about that a little bit and how you guys have kind of overcome that obstacle.
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, and still is, having such a young team, because most athletes, when they get to the collegiate level, were the best players on their team in high school. So they're used to getting a lot of playing time. They're used to winning games, because most of the players that you bring were from successful programs. So it's kind of a challenge when they get here to get them to understand, this isn't the same situation as high school. We are, a rebuilding program right now, in a very, very difficult conference. So basically just kind of trying to remind them daily, weekly, that that's the situation we're in. And that doesn't mean that that's what we're going to say. And just kind of keeping them positive and remind them, there's a light at the end of the tunnel here. And we do have to remember that we are young and that we've made really good strides this season with a super young team. So I think that speaks volumes about, what our future is going to look like. So basically just kind of, I guess, reminding them, there are good things ahead of us and we have done good things. And so we just got to keep moving.
Thanks for talking with me today, Coach. The Cavs play Carson Newman in the Pryor Center on Friday, November 4th at 7 p.m. Catch all the action in person or on uvawisecavs.com. Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.